We elected all these people, you know, our congressmen or senators and stuff, and nobody agrees.
I think it's like almost a spoiled child. I either got to have my way or it's no way.
It's just taking down the morale of this country.
Well, you heard it. America is angry. Congressional web servers actually crashed, and the phones have been ringing endlessly. Constituents are frustrated with the debt stalemate and no deal on the horizon. And the pressure is only going to mount. Joining me, Democratic Congresswoman from California, Karen Bass, and Republican Congressman from Louisiana and Tea Party caucus member John Fleming. I want to thank both of you for being here. And Congresswoman, let me start with you and ask you the question that seems to be on the mind of all those Americans. What in the heck is going on there? Why can't you guys get this stuff done?
Well, I think it's very challenging. You know, what I would prefer is that we would just raise the debt ceiling clear without combining it with the deficit, like they did 7 times under the Bush administration. You know, I've only been here for 6 months. I'm new. But this is very similar to what we would go through in California every single year in negotiating a budget.
So what's going to get done, Congressman Fleming? John Boehner doesn't seem to have the votes because of you folks in the Tea Party to get his debt deal to the president. Now, he is working to add some more cuts to get to that $1.2 trillion figure. Is there any circumstances under which you would support his plan?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do support his plan. My preferred plan, of course, is cut, cap, and balance. But the president said he would veto it.
But you acknowledge that's not going to happen.
Yes, and so as a result, we have the Boehner plan, which has some of the same benefits in terms of no tax increases, but cuts that exceed the amount that we raise the debt ceiling. And Harry Reid already indicated that he would support it, although the president got him to back away from that. So at the end of the day, the Boehner plan, I think, is an excellent compromise. It's just a matter of getting the president and, of course, Democrats.
Well, you understand what the Democratic concern is, don't you? That they don't want to go through this again in 6 months. This has been excruciating. I'm sure it's been excruciating for you in Congress. It certainly turns out that it's excruciating for the American people. It's causing some nervousness across around the world.
So, Chris, there's a different dynamic here. The president has increased our debt by $4 trillion in 2 years, and he wants another $2.4 trillion. That's unprecedented, both in percentage and total absolute numbers. So what we're saying is, Mr. President, if you want us to raise this debt ceiling, you're going to have to slow down the spending and be accountable to the American people.
And let me just say that I think that there were other issues with Boehner's plan where Senator Reid said it was DOA, dead on arrival, going into the Senate, because it isn't just about the cuts. It's about other policy issues that have been put in. Like my good friend here talked about the cut, cap, and balance. Well, what Boehner was proposing really was that, and I think that is really problematic. And let me just point on one part of it, the cap piece. We're in a recession. We've had to make terrible cuts. We've really compromised education, for example. And so under Boehner's plan, a cap would be in place, so when the economy turns around, we wouldn't even be able to restore funding to education. And that's just unacceptable. In the 21st century, we have to keep up with the other nations around the world.
So, Congressman, let me ask you, who's to blame in all this?
Well, I think that the American people showed in the 2010 elections that they are terrified of the out-of-control spending, which even in the area of education has yielded no benefits. Our baseline 5% for the first 2 years of the Obama administration.
But with all due respect, Congressman, the polls also show that the American people want a balanced approach, and they want, overwhelmingly, they want to include as part of this package that the rich, that people making over $1 million, that hedge fund managers, as the president talked about the other night, as CEOs with corporate jets, that they pay in more to solve this problem.
And we tried to work with the president to have tax rate reform, which would lower the rates and do away with these deductions. And the president sent Boehner away. So remember, the president has not offered a plan. Harry Reid only now offers a plan which is really no plan at all, which is increased spending with no controls. So all we're saying is Republicans, American people sent us here in 2010, gave us control of the House, get spending under control. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
And I just think it's really important that we separate the issues, because I think there's a very simple plan, and the plan that was used 7 times under the Bush administration is to simply raise the debt ceiling. And if you're going to talk about cuts and addressing the deficit, it needs to be addressed separately. What my concern is, and I empathize for Speaker Boehner, I really do, because I feel like his caucus is not really letting him lead. To me, the Speaker should be given the authority to negotiate the best deal, and his caucus should support him and have confidence in him. So he came back with a plan. He wanted to do the big plan, but then his caucus rejected that. So it's my hope that they'll actually give Speaker Boehner a break and let him negotiate.
I would have to disagree. As a member of the caucus, I can tell you that it was the president who ended the big deal. And we worked with Speaker Boehner. We're in agreement, and this bill will pass in the House at least.
Congresswoman Karen Bass and Congressman John Fleming, thanks to both of you, and
yes, thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you.